I'm Mia Liljeberg, and I'm honored to be part of the first convention for PSA Afghanistan. I want to share with you some insights from when we started the association in Sweden, and also from a survey that I did with a lot of speakers all over the world. Here you can see a lot of speakers from Sweden who met over a weekend 2014 to discuss whether we should have an association. And if you haven't had an association and you made quite a career before as a professional speaker, you really question, what's in it for me? And we did it as well. But Fredrik Herren, who is a Swedish speaker who is living in Singapore, he came to Sweden and told us about the benefits that he had received as being a professional speaker and being a member of the Speaker Association in Singapore. So he convinced us, and this was the starting date for our speaking association. And within our first year, we became the seventh largest association in the world. Maybe you have heard about the pie. Robert Cavett, who was one of the founders of the National Speaker Association in the US, he said that when we collaborate as speakers, we can get a greater pie. So the more we collaborate, the greater the pie, the more gigs there are. And we believe the same thing now in Sweden. I mean, before we started the association, we thought the same as some speaker bros who told me, like, Mia, don't do this because, I mean, you are ruining the speaking business because there's only so many gigs, there's only so much pie. And there will only be more speakers competing about the same gigs. But that is a shift in mindset that once you start an association and you really believe in the contribution and the giving, then you will see that you can thrive by building a greater pie. By the collaboration gives you a greater pie, and with the greater pie comes a more established profession as a speaker. I did a survey before I spoke at the Global Speaker Summit in New Zealand. I did a survey that I sent out to all the different national speaker associations in the world, where their members could answer this survey, because I was curious about what are the different benefits that the speakers do see that they get from their association. And it was astonishing. Several of them answered that, yes, I have gained so much value, over $50,000 from the collaboration within the association. And more than 50% who answered the survey had raised their fees. And many had given back to society, because this is all about having a mindset of giving back, giving before you get. Another speaker association convention that I spoke at was the PSA UK and Ireland 2017, and they had 3 streams, and I think that is such a good picture of the speaking business and what you could get out of an association. And it is really speak more, speak better, and speak stronger. Because, I mean, the competence development and the connections and the growth you can make is really within 3 different areas. It is within your business, which is the back end of your business, your systems, your processes, agreements, etc. Sales, marketing. And then we have the delivery, your platform skills, how you are delivering your services. But as important is your life. How do you find the balance? How do you find the harmony? And how do you become more resilient to really endure it? Because it is quite a tough life as a speaker when you go traveling, or a lot of stress, different client needs. So these 3 areas really sum up what you can get from a speaking association when we're talking about the competence development and the growth. And especially now within in the times of Corona, COVID-19, the third one, my life, about how becoming more resilient even when gigs are disappearing. I think that has been a really good support from for all the speakers around the world who are member of an association, to really find the support within the associations and from the colleagues. So if you take a moment to just reflect on what are your key areas for development for your upgrade 2021? Is it within the growth of your business? Or is it developing your platform skills? Or is it about harmony and balance and connections? The answers to my survey, how many years had they been a member of the association? And as you can see, half of the members had been members of the association for more than 4 years. And that's quite understandable. I mean, if you gain thousands of dollars of benefit from being a member, it's worth staying there, isn't it? So 50% of the respondents who answered were members for less than 3 years, and 50% of the respondents have been more than 4 years, and you see many over 11 years. And the value of the collaboration that they had gained from being a member was, you can see here, that's plenty over 10,000. Actually, 50% of the respondents gained value over $10,000. And then we're talking about a membership that it cost a couple of $100 per year. And people get so much value out of it, so it's worth staying. But how do they get this value? What makes up these sums? Well, this is how they said it was. Well, the financial benefits of collaboration was really to get referral. That was the most common one, which is when you get a client recommendation. Another one was raising my fee, and that is really that the more you work with your platform skills, the more you learn about the sales part of the process, the better you can raise your fee. And also that you get a better overview of your finances. So you could see how you could save costs and how you could reorganize things. Creating new revenue. This new way of delivering services with different platforms, online or physical. Saving money on the cost side by sharing suppliers or by getting other ways of cost-efficient ways of working. Developing new businesses, which could be in connection with others, but also finding new markets where you were not active before. So when I was in New Zealand, this is the Tongariro mountain, which looks very, very high and very hard to climb, and it is. And as you can see, it's quite wide at the bottom, and then it goes steeper and steeper. And I think this is quite a good metaphor for how you can leverage your membership. Because if we look at this, a lot of it is built on trust. And trust grows as interest on interest, which means that you need to give in more than the inflation. And the inflation is really the information overload that we're all living in. And how can you really stand out in this information overload? So trust grows as interest on interest. And the more you give, the more trusted you become. And that is how you conquer the mountain of value. So when we start as members of an association, we're all at the bottom, which means that we pay our dues, we pay the fee, and then we can start to consume. So you pay your fee and then you can start to get things. But in order to really get the big values, you need to start giving. One way to give is really to connect with your peers, both in physical events and virtual events, and really getting to know your peers. From that one, start to contribute. And how you can contribute? Once you're connected with others in similar fields, well, then you can do guest blogs, you can do articles, podcasts, panels, you can give advice, mentoring, about good suppliers, refer contacts. You can volunteer for association work, like the board, other leadership roles, manage the events. You can share industry network for exposure, like articles, events, etc. So you can really start to contribute and give to your peers. You can share on social media, so you can help others getting exposure by sharing their posts on social media. You can arrange learning events for your peers, and you can also be watched when you speak or watch others speak and give feedback. So there's so many ways to contribute. And then we have the next step, which is that once you've connected with some peers and you've contributed, that is when you're building the trust. And once you have the trust, that is when you can start to co-create with each other. Different ways of co-creation with the peers is seminars, training, webinars, or doing co-created podcasts, write articles together, write a book, combine online trainings, or even come up with new brands, doing retreats, masterminds, programs together. Because, I mean, this is often where you get the good value. You get financial value out of it because you get new income. But in order to get here, you really need to start connect and to contribute so people can build trust in you. Because, I mean, just because you're a member of an association, it doesn't mean that I trust you. There's plenty of people in the Swedish association that I wouldn't recommend because they are not aligned with my brand, or I haven't seen them enough. But there's so many speakers, both in Sweden and all over the world, that I've connected with. I've seen them contributing, and I can therefore also trust them, and I would refer them because I know it wouldn't harm my brand. So this is all about starting to give, so you can get the value out of it. And once you do this, and once you're up here and it's all built on the giving mindset, that is when you start to conquer this mountain of value. But maybe you're thinking, I don't have anything to share. You do. You can share your mistakes. You can share your mistake, your best practice, your different hacks, what suppliers you have, the experiences, and you can share them just by being curious about what others are needing, but also in your online forum questions, maybe on Facebook, but also when you're having the events online like you have now, or physical or hybrid events. But it is a big difference. It's not only giving. I'm talking a lot about the trust. And the trust building is really that if you give to get, or if you give to give. If you're only giving to get, people will sense that, and that's not building trust. You need to give and not expect to have something back. Once you're up at the top and conquering this mountain of value, you're seen as a trustworthy contributor, and peers refer to you for opportunities because they see that they fit you, and it would benefit their brand as well, being the referrer. And they are now your ambassadors. So show gratitude for where you are and the ones around you, and be humble and continuously giving back. Be nice at the top. So this is how you can look at how you can leverage your membership. That you paid your fee, so you can be a consumer, but if you really want the big value, then start to connect and contribute. Because it's all about visibility, credibility, and profitability. You probably heard this from Ivan Meisner, the BNI. And that's all about it. You have to start being visible. Once you become visible, people can start to rely on you, feel that you're credible. And once we reach that state, that is when we can start to hire you. So you want to be remembered, then recognized, and then referred. So what I would like to give you to take home is really this. The more you give, the more you get. But also, what you give is not what you get. Don't make it a transaction that I give you a gig and then you give me. No, just give to give. And then you become trusted as a giver. And a giver is someone people want to give to. So don't make it a transaction. And the more you serve, the more you deserve. So I hope you get some inspiration to really contribute more to your association. And if you want to know more, because there's so much more in this survey that I did, just connect with me on LinkedIn. And remember, together we make each other better.